Hey guys, so welcome to another weekly astrology and forecast video from the Sacred Goddess 1111 channel, which I'm actually thinking about changing the name soon. So if I do, be on the lookout. I will do a notification post if so, but just be on the lookout once again and know that I may change it. So moving into this week's energy. This forecast is going to be for May 25th, today, Monday, Memorial Day, till Sunday, May 31st. And we have pretty much the same or very similar things going on astrologically as we did last week and the week before as this week. So if you'd like a little more information on the new moon that we just had this past week, go ahead and check out my last video. And if you want lots of information on all these retrogrades that are going on, then check out 2 videos ago for that information. But for today, we'll just move straight into the tarot reading. Gonna try to keep it under 30 minutes a day, maybe even under 20, we'll see. And as such, I'm just gonna let it flow. However, I do wanna put it out there that we have a Crescent Moon in Virgo this weekend on May 29th, and I believe that's Friday. So that's going to be square Virgo, square to Gemini. There's lots of Gemini energy going on right now, so just know that it could be a little bit of a tense crescent moon for some of us, especially those of us who are the mutable signs, so or are dominant at least in the mutable energies. And I wrote down here, especially for those of us with mutable energies at 7 to 11 degrees. So if you have your birth chart, you know your birth chart, you can check that out and know if that is within your range. And the mutable signs, just to let you guys know, in case you don't, are Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius. So it's definitely going to, affect all of us in probably a similar way since it's the same energy, but us mutables, we are going to feel it a little bit more since it's a mutable sun right now with Gemini in the sun and with Virgo moon being mutable earth. So Virgo is mutable earth, Gemini is mutable air, and Pisces mutable water, Sagittarius mutable fire. So it doesn't have to be your sun sign, but if you know that you're dominant in any of those signs and it's 7 to 11 degrees, know that it could be a little more intense for you. But if we've been doing our work and we've been self-examining during these retrogrades and being really aware and having open and honest communication with ourselves and with others, hopefully we won't have to experience that tense energy and we can just use it to go a little bit deeper, since Virgo is a very analytical sign, and so is Gemini, and so perhaps it could even be a time for immense mental clarity since both are ruled by Mercury, and we just have a lot of Mercury energy going on right now in general. So, other thing I wanted to talk about is that Mercury, speaking of Mercury moves out of Gemini into Cancer this weekend as well. So whereas many of us have been feeling very talkative, very almost sort of like tripping over our words, that we want to speak so fast and so much, and we just have been feeling like really compelled to say a lot and maybe getting like a lot of really intense clarity of mind. Know that in Cancer, our mind is going to be a little bit more emotionally based, and instead of this Gemini sort of like broad world view way of thinking and like ultimate truths, it's going to be more about personal truths, and especially with our relationships and our families, since Cancer really is associated with family and with just those more intimate emotional relationships. So some things to look forward to, and we'll see how the reading plays out. So maybe the reading will touch on those energies, or maybe it'll be focused on something else. And as I always say before moving into the reading, I channel for everybody who is watching this. So I just really ask Spirit, all ancestor guides, angel guides, to come and assist me, to help me pull the exact cards that whoever is watching this or who will be watching this will receive the best information for them. And so, you know, that said, always feel free to reach out and ask for more clarity, and always feel free to reach out for a personal reading. I do private session readings, and I do birth chart readings. So I do personalized birth chart readings and tarot readings, and that can be really helpful during a time like right now where there's a lot of uncertainty in our world, and then therefore a lot of maybe sometimes personal confusion, as well as or just like indecision, or just needing more clarity. I don't like to put those labels out there, but we may be feeling that, maybe not. And yeah, just, you know, during this quarantine time and retrograde time, it's a really great time for reflection. So having a tarot reading or an astrology birth chart reading could be really helpful during that time. And so once again, if you want to just expand on these energies more or have more clarity personalized for you, it could be a good idea, but no pressure. Either way, I'm happy to do these weekly readings for the collective, just from my own personal desires and purposes. I just really love serving the collective. It's a part of my purpose to serve and heal, so I find it very enjoyable no matter what. All right, so I'm starting off with a regular Rider-Waite tarot. I don't think I've used the regular Rider-Waite in a little while, but maybe that's a lie. But I'm gonna go ahead and just tap into these energies. Was feeling called to use the traditional tarot today. So what does the collective need to hear for their highest and best for this week, for their healing and their expansion? All right, this is actually one that's come up a lot in my readings, as those of you who've been watching from the start know, and particularly this whenever I use the Rider-Waite tarot. So this is the Nine of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles is all about, so it came up reversed. So here it is upright, so you guys can see. And the Nine of Pentacles, well, let's just talk about upright first. So Nine of Pentacles upright, it represents financial autonomy and independence, and just doing really good in life financially and physically. So as you can see, this woman here, she's draped in these beautiful robes. She's outside in her garden that's like fenced off. Her property is fenced off, and she has all these coins around her to represent everything that she has saved and invested very responsibly. And she hasn't really had anyone do this for her. She's done it for herself. And so as you can see, but she looks a little leisurely. She doesn't look like someone that's totally exhausted, ran themselves ragged, total burnout. She looks like she really has it down. She has her life structured in a way where she's able to make what she needs for her physical world and in her material realm, but still keep her calmness, keep her state of relaxation, and maintain a state of just natural luxury. This really is like kind of like we talked about last week with Venus energy. This really reminds me of like that Venus energy of like the feminine principles of doing business and having money and attracting money, whereas like the masculine principle is more go out and get, which we all have both. So it's important to do that when we need to do that. There's definitely always a time and place for that. But the feminine version, which is always usually a female on the Nine of Pentacles, the more feminine Venusian version of attracting money is it's just very feminine. It's very like, how do I draw money to me instead of me having to go out and seek it and possibly risk burnout if I'm doing that 100% of the time. How do I bring abundance to me so I can rest and never cut that cord of the flow of abundance and money and just ways to take care of myself? Because money is just a collectively agreed on way to exchange energy. But so if you don't use money, that's fine. Or if you don't like money, that's fine, but it could bring you blockages. But you know, however you like to think of abundance, just think about that, you know, being attracted to you instead of having to go out and seek. And I especially feel this for The reverse version, anytime I see reversals, I really see it as a more inward energy. It also could represent a resistance to this energy right now. So perhaps some of us are feeling some sort of resistance to saving our money and being more financially responsible, especially us spiritually minded people, as light workers and star seeds. A lot of times we have a really negative connotation on money because of all the, horrible things really that money has done to people, and to politics and the way that we take care of our world. However, it doesn't have to be that way. That's just when it's unbalanced. Money could do really wonderful things if we used it the right way. And once again, it's just a symbol. So this could be anything else. This could be energy, labor, food, land, cars, your home, anything that is associated with how you take care of yourself, how you take care of your basic needs, both in the short term and very much so in the long term, how you know that you're set up for the long term. You could make $0, but attract a situation where you're putting in some sort of value in order to receive those things to take care of yourself. So either way, it needs to, it's not going to just happen because we're good people. You have to, put some effort out to go seek it and make it known and put the actual physical work in. And then you also have to pray and meditate and focus on things like the law of attraction and manifestation in order to bring it to ourselves. So I think that's a really cool theme with a Venus retrograde. Seems very relevant. Alrighty, so let's see what else Spirit wants to tell us about this energy and about this week. Oh wow, okay, so we have 5 of Wands reversed. So getting some reversals here already. So basically, 5 of Wands is of the fire element, whereas Pentacles is the earth element. So fire element is all about our passion, how we engage with the world, how we engage with others, how we embody ourselves, protect ourselves, motivate ourselves, express ourselves. And so this is essentially, in 5 of Wands, it's just people just kind of battling back and forth as they basically express their will through their passions and what outcome they want to see. Whereas the upright version, it's like more like healthy competition and healthy sort of battling. The reversed version can sometimes mean that it's gone too far or that it's not being received in a healthy way. So this could be, maybe someone's teasing you or maybe someone's challenging you right now in your life, and you may be taking it a little too personally, especially since we are in Gemini season and we have lots of Gemini energy and we have Mercury in Gemini, and we've been having Mercury in Gemini until pretty much this Friday. So Geminis, like I said last week, we speak freely and we do so with a loving heart and a loving mind. So we don't think, we're very childlike like that, very innocent. And so we don't think that it's going to hurt people's feelings sometimes. But then people who are more sensitive, who, take more precautions when they speak, may be like, wow, the fact that you said that means you don't care if it possibly hurt my feelings. Or you must think low of me. But from a Gemini standpoint, we're just trying to help. We're like, hey, this thing that I noticed that you're doing that's holding you back? Like, I'm either gonna just outright tell you, or I'm gonna kind of like make fun of you a little bit because I think telling you straight out actually might hurt your feelings more. And so joking about it is our way, and humor is our way to lighten it up a little bit, but we're not doing it to be malicious. Like, we don't, despite what people say out there, we don't enjoy actually making people feel bad. We're kind of people pleasers a lot of times. We want to make people feel good. And so, but it's just, we also have to speak the truth. And we also, that's a part of us caring so much about people, is giving them the truth. And then sometimes we're really shocked at how people take it, because we would have been like, oh wow, thank you. That's hard to swallow, but okay, thanks. I needed to hear that, and thank God someone respected me enough to tell me. Or we'll be like, oh, haha, okay, I see what you're doing when you're making fun of me. Like, okay, I see what you're saying. Like, it hurts a little bit, but I hear you. And, maybe there's some truth in it. So, once again, Some of us, this energy is going to be very conducive. It's going to make us more receptive to hearing those things. It's going to make us do those things more. But for others of us who's not our natural nature, we're very opposed to that type of energy. It could be very difficult, and it could have caused, relationship issues or personal confidence issues. And so this might be something that we might want to examine, is how are we, once again, reverse is about more so to me about intaking the energy. How are we intaking this sort of like battling that we're doing between people and even maybe our own selves? This could even be, conflict within ourselves. But usually it's associated with others. So, how can we see the best in it instead of feeling like it's just all really messy and really bad? And, that's once again, sometimes kind of the interpretation of Gemini energy, but, which can be true. But once again, there's a lesson there, and there is always some usefulness there. So try to put a positive light on it and see it in that way, if you can, whenever you can. So that's just what I'm getting for that card. There's always multiple interpretations, by the way, you guys, for all of the cards. And I just use the interpretations that I feel Spirit is calling me to put out there, and also with how they stack up with other cards. So if you have another meaning for the card out there, feel free to take that meaning instead. Not every single meaning of every single card I pull is going to be 100% for everyone watching this video. So take it however you need to take it. All right, yay! So last card here for the 3-card tarot, traditional tarot draw is the Queen of Wands, upright Queen of Wands. I love this energy. To me, this is such a natural progression and a really beautiful alignment of all 3 of these energies. So we have the reversed 9 of Pentacles, perhaps avoiding or not fully wanting to realize and actualize how important financial safety and abundance really is, or even just resource safety and abundance. It doesn't once again have to be money at all. And combined with conflicts with others, conflicts with those closest to us, or it could even be like a conflict, you have a mental conflict about the world. You may feel like you're in battle with like the world, the powers that be, especially with this 9 of Pentacles reversed. And so in order to get through all this energy, we need to embody more Queen of Wands energy. And also what I'm getting is by going through these sort of struggles and getting those kernels of truth from these struggles about ourselves, about the world, about others, it's going to enable us to become more of Queen of Wands energy and step into that energy. I know I was feeling very Queen of Wands today, of just very empowered and very just like, this is who I am, and I'm just going to put it out there freely and lovingly and just own it, because nobody owns me besides me. And that's how honestly we all should feel. Like, we don't come down here as souls enslaved to anyone or anything. We are free, no matter where we live, no matter who we are. And so if anyone tries to tell you that you need to be a certain way or another way, that is them essentially trying to enslave you. I mean, nice, kind advice, or maybe joking, funny Gemini advice or critiques are different. But I'm saying, like society or the world or even yourself saying like, you have to be this way. You have to do this, and if you don't do this, then people aren't going to like you, or you're not really, doing your career or your profession correctly. And Queen of Wands is not about that. She's like, I am my own person, and I own whatever I do and say, and if I have to create something completely new, if I have to create a whole new archetype and, stereotype even, then I will. Because I will things into existence. Once again, wands are fire element. So fire is all about self-will and the power and the energy to will things into existence, to put our passion that lives on the inside of us, our God-given passion, on the outside, and to be confident and proud of that, and just totally in our power. The Queen of Wands is also someone who's really respected by others, and maybe sometimes even a little intimidating, and others may even like fear, I don't want to say fear, but they could if they're not, you know, in touch with themselves, or, you know, they aren't, they're just still in that, you know, fear place, fear-based thinking, because if you've surpassed fear-based thinking, you know, you're not going to be able to have fear anymore. But, you know, Queen of Wands is someone that sometimes people who aren't maybe right with themselves do fear, because they see this person as very powerful and someone more powerful than them. But once again, we all have this ability. If it was up to me, we would all be queens and kings of our own world. I don't need to be king or queen over anybody. I just want to be the queen of my own world and myself. And so I think that's really cool. And I pulled this one, I think, a few readings ago too. So little black cat there. I always find this very magical as well. Just like a woman or a man, you know, that's very in their magical energy and just doesn't care what anyone thinks. And just living in their full power. And by doing so, they're able to have enough like impression on others and influence on others in a very positive way, versus that, you know, lower intimidation fear way, which sometimes people can project onto a Queen of Wands type character. But once again, that's their projection. That's saying more about them than it says about her. So it's just someone who, she gains a lot of respect by being herself and by speaking very confidently and standing in her truth very firmly and not backing down, and knowing that she deserves to be exactly who she is and to have her passions and to be and live in her passions. So I think that's really beautiful and amazing. It also just shows like whatever you want to achieve and to accomplish and get done, that you can do it. Queen of Wands, she gets things done, you guys. And I'm going to put this here just so you guys can screenshot if you want. I forgot to do that, I think. So just wanted to make sure I did. All right. So I think that is a really great, beautiful energy. And what is bringing to mind, astrologically at least, is I was saying we have that Crescent Moon in Virgo, and that, you know, could feel a little bit intense for some of us, but that it also can bring immense mental clarity with Sun in a Mercury sign and Moon in a Mercury sign. So I'm feeling that for sure, that we may be getting a lot of clarity about air sign, our ideas and beliefs and expression, versus, or in tandem with Earth Virgo Moon of like practicality. How do we ground it in reality and make it real and make it about our resources and our life and what's really going on down here, like marrying Earth and air together. So definitely feeling that with that 3-card draw. And then what I also wanted to say on the new moon was that or Crescent Moon, is that the Crescent Moon is also a really great time to check in with your new moon intentions. I always recommend that for everybody, all my clients, all my friends, anyone who follows the moon, that, you know, whatever intentions you set on the new moon or you set forth into motion, the Crescent Moon is a great time to analyze how you're doing with those new moon intentions. Are you staying committed to them, or do you lack discipline and you kind of forgot about it, you know? And every day, maybe you're too much in this Gemini everyday energy where every day is a new day and nothing is ever building on top of each other. That's the Earth element. It's really important to have things build on top of each other while also seeing every day as a new day. You can still see every day as a new day with your eyes and your airy mind and beliefs and heart, but still let things be really grounded and build on top of each other. And so it's really, really important time to check in with those new moon intentions. And it's a time where your new moon intentions can really be tested, where you may find, you know, like through trial and error, the challenges of having that new moon intention, or having those intentions at all, or goals or new routines, whatever it is. And if so, you know, try not to judge yourself. Let it be just like, okay, it's just information. You know, write it down. You can even put it on the same page, your new moon. You can put a new page for Crescent Moon. And just write it down and say, okay, you know, now that I've had this week to try out all my new moon intentions and work towards this goal, I'm seeing that this is going to be the challenge and this is going to be the challenge, or I did really good here, I did really great here, this is what I learned, and just take it moving forward. The full moon is the full culmination of all of our new moon intentions and the full lunar month's energy. So just let it be that. Let it be exactly that. Just let it be that halfway sort of checkpoint until you get to the full moon where everything is full fruition. So don't give up too easily. Don't judge yourself. Know that you're just you're just 1 week in to your new moon intentions and goals, and you still have all the way until the full moon to go. And if they're more longer term intentions, it could quite possibly be all the way until next year. Who knows? So be patient with yourself. And know that every day, you know, you should wake up with a fresh heart, fresh eyes, new optimism, but still building day to day and learning as we go. All right, I'm gonna pull from the animal spirit oracle cards. People have really been loving these, giving me great feedback on these, and so I figured I would keep including them as long as people keep asking me about them or telling me how much they love whenever I get to the animal spirits. So what animal spirits can guide us to help us with this energy as much as possible? Ooh, the fire ant. So lots of fire energy, you guys. As you can see, these little fire ants all working together, coming together in this little fiery circle. And I'm just gonna read that real quick. Flip to the fire element. Okay. So for fire ant, this is what it says. It says, keywords, aggression, rigid thinking, and following orders. It says fire ant energy flares up without us noticing. It's the force that attracts us to people and situations that feed our imbalances rather than those that counter them. Gossiping and blaming are a few indicators that misaligned fire ant energy is at play. You may also find yourself stewing on a person or a situation, only making things worse. How can you break free from the drama and cool down? Fire ants are surprisingly sensitive. Don't pretend that the heat isn't getting to you. Wow, that's really powerful. I know, I definitely felt, it's funny, I definitely felt this exact energy this morning. And then I sent a voice memo to someone about it all, and I was venting, and then literally 2 minutes after I sent it, I was like, hey, don't listen to that. Because I realized it was just negative and blaming others, and I didn't even realize it until I started to re-listen to the message. And I was I don't even want to put this energy on someone else. Sometimes as Geminis, it's the only way we can fully know our emotions or release our more negative emotions is to air them out, since we are air element. An earth element might find it easier to do something physical or write it down or dance it out or something like that, which is great for everyone. We all should do all those things. But for air signs, it tends to be more communication, because that is the air element, speaking it out. And then sometimes once we speak it out, we're man, I don't I don't like the way that sounded. And even though it can be kind of damaging if it's towards someone that wasn't really ready for that information, or we just weren't in the right vibration for anyone to receive that at that moment, and it was just comes out kind of nasty sometimes. It can, even though that's unfortunate, it can be fortunate, because it can be a reflection for us of what we actually sound like, and when we realize that, it's oh man, I don't want to be that person. And so Geminis, we are really great with that is that we can really dish it out and we can, you know, sometimes be like, whoo, like kind of a lot in that way, but we also can self-reflect very quickly and be like, oh man, you know, now that I've analyzed myself and I've analyzed what I've said or written down, like, I don't like that, and I'm going to use that information. As much as I don't like that and it doesn't feel good, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to use that information to change, and I'm going to be so much better because of that, and I don't ever want to be that person again. Very, very, very Gemini, especially Gemini Mercury sort of theme. And I feel like we're just getting a lot of fire energy here in general, which we don't have a whole lot of fire going on in the cosmos, so maybe something about the fire element is coming up in our lives for some reason. Spirit's bringing it to us for some reason. All right. So it says, when in balance, this energy is thoughtful and disciplined. Wow, which I just talked about discipline just a few moments ago with the new moon into Crescent Moon. Discipline is something we think is very boring a lot of times as spiritual people. If you read any spiritual text, it tells you that discipline is one of the #1 steps. You can't just go to level 1000 without having gone through level 1 to 999. So, you know, discipline in the spiritual level, personal level, interpersonal, sounds like from this, and, you know, the very physical. So all with that, you know, Nine of Pentacles energy we had earlier. All right. When it says, when out of balance, it argues. There's excess heat. So heat rules inflammation in the body. As an emotion, it's anger, frustration. And then gossips. So once again, that, like I said last week, gossip is sometimes a Gemini energy thing. You know, not that just Geminis are prone to it, but anyone with Gemini in their chart, or anytime we experience Gemini energy, I think especially for those of us who aren't used to it, it can kind of come out sort of accidentally, and you don't even realize that other people would see this as gossip. You're just kind of venting, but then later you realize, like, oh man, like, it sounds like I was gossiping about that person, but really I was just venting about my own life and situation. So might want to be aware of that. Be aware of our venting this week. You know, whether we are doing it about others to like a neutral party or someone that we love, or doing it directly to that person that is bothering us. That's very much goes back to that Five of Wands, that reverse Five of Wands energy of unhealthy banter. So we could be very prone to that this week and this weekend. So yeah, basically, you know, using this energy to be thoughtful and disciplined. Use that fire. It's a very earthy fire. So using this very earthy, we're getting all earth and fire element, you know, this reading. So, and the themes are very earth and fire elements. So like very much using that fire energy to go in a straight line and be really streamlined about what you want. And, you know, so if you want a good family life, be disciplined enough to have the restraint to not react to everything and every time that they trigger you or offend you. Because a lot of that is based on the past that isn't even here anymore. And a lot of it is based on our own wounds that may be from them and maybe from other people or our own selves. You know, same for romantic relationships. Instead of reacting so quickly and just saying whatever we want, flying off the handle, you know, like having discipline to say, do I want to be in a good relationship? Yes, I do. So I shouldn't just fly off the handle and say like all the most fiery, crazy things I can say right now. I should be really disciplined with my speech and my heart center, and, you know, take a more loving approach and perhaps be more organized about it and just write it down or record myself in private and listen to it so it doesn't have to go out to anybody else and cause this sort of, you know, interpersonal conflict that the Five of Wands reverse showed us may be happening, and which we, you know, ultimately don't want to manifest. But if we do, at least we have this information to be aware of it, and we can, you know, have our heart-to-hearts, apologize, and, you know, admit where we went wrong, or admit where we were careless, perhaps, and impatient and fiery, and not coming from a place of love, of more of a place of self-protection. So I think that that's really great advice to go with all those cards. Okay, so I wanted to do one more. Let's see, I'm gonna use the moon. I'm gonna use the Moonology deck, and then I'm gonna end it, which I said I was gonna try to keep it at 30 minutes, but we're at 35, shoot. Oh well. It flows how it's gotta flow, you guys. You all already know that. Okay, so I'm just gonna get a moon card here, because I'm just feeling like there's a lot of like emotional energy going on, a lot of reactive energy, and that can really be ruled by the moon. The moon rules our emotions. And so, you know, perhaps tapping into the lunar energies can give us some insight here of how we can, you know, best use these emotional energies, how we can, you know, balance them, and if any sort of conflict does come up, what's the best approach to take in order to diffuse it, learn from it, and come back to that place of love and growth. Oh wow, cool. So it's full moon in Libra, so air energy, Libra, and full moons are all about everything coming to its full fruition once again. And it says here a win-win outcome is forecast. So that's great, beautiful. So, you know, whatever happens this week sounds like it's like meant to be, and that it's gonna be really great for both parties. And maybe, you know, a little intense at certain points, but that ultimately this is happening in order to balance things out, because Libra is the sign of balance, the scales, as you can, I think, see here. And so, you know, even if it's like, okay, really up here, we're like doing this balancing act so that eventually we can come to this place. And then when we get there, that's a win-win. So try to keep that in mind, whether you're the one attacking or being accused of attacking, or you're the one feeling like you're being attacked. Just know that ultimately there's a bigger picture here, and it's not just about this little one-on-one temporary thing, that ultimately there are major energies that are being balanced out between you and these other people, or perhaps, once again, it could even be like you towards society, since that's coming up for a lot of us right now in this time period. Okay, so keywords for full moon in Libra. It says, see the other person through the eyes of love. It will change your perspective. Oh, I love that. That's also literally what I just said too. You guys, it happens every week. I love when I literally say exact sentences and channel exact sentences, and then they're like on the next page that I read from these books whenever I use the books. Okay, it also says it's time for you to make a firm decision. So to me, that goes along with discipline too. It's like, you know, like decide here and now, what kind of person do you want to be? And decide here and now how committed you truly are. You know, to me, when we lack discipline and commitment, it's because we actually haven't decided yet. That's you showing in practice that you haven't decided. And some people are like, oh yeah, no, I did. It just was hard because of this reason or this reason. And I do the same thing. But guess what? Every time I say that, it's bullshit. And same for all of you. You know, it's if you made a decision to do something or to be a certain way, every time you falter on it, you are showing that your decision wasn't 100%, because you would have stuck with it 100% all the way through. So, you know, don't be too hard on yourselves. It sounds kind of intense, but you know, it's good to know that, and then we know what we're working on, and to forgive ourselves when we do fall short of that, because we will. But you know, having the humility and strength to admit whenever we've done that, whenever we faltered, we've gone wrong or gone too far, and use that as information to pull ourselves back and to inspire us to do better and keep going. All right, it says time for you to focus on yourself for a while. So, you know, with all these agitated energies, maybe, yeah, we all need to focus a little more on ourselves, especially with that Nine of Pentacles reversed. To me, once again, it's a very self-reflective card. So and same with Queen of Wands, right? She just is like her, she's being fully herself. So in order to connect to our power and to feel powerful, perhaps we need to just love ourselves more and connect to ourselves more, do some writing, do some journaling, some self-talking and dancing, just experiencing our own self to balance ourselves out so that when we come forward to others, there's not as much chaotic energy, and we're both more of a, or we're all more of a balanced energy coming together with other balanced energies. All right, it says look after yourself but avoid vanity. So that they say that can be a Libra trait sometimes. So yeah, show self-love, but steer away from being narcissistic or vain, obviously. And then it says, now is a great time for a makeover, which is funny to me because Venus retrogrades, they say, are a good time to do makeovers because we're rethinking, especially since this Venus retrograde is in Gemini. So, planet of thinking. Mercury is a planet of thinking, at least. Gemini is a sign of thinking is what I meant. So basically, that means it's a time to rethink our ideas of love, abundance, family, and beauty, those very Venus themes, especially Venus retrograde. So maybe that'll help give you some confidence and make you feel reinvented. Like you can take on these new character traits, you can take on these new challenges, these new intentions, these new goals, this new way of communicating with people and seeing them through your heart instead of your wounds and your triggers and what makes you feel inflamed. And so I think that's really, really beautiful message. And I just want to end it with the mantra for this card is let go of that which is falling away. So to me, it's like if something's not working or it's just like, constantly there and you're constantly kind of trying to get it out of your way, like go ahead and just let it fall completely. Just visualize it falling away completely. So that, and you don't have to think about it being a challenge coming back and forth, that just like, let it flow, let it go completely. Send it down that river. That's a meditation I do sometimes with people, is having them visualize, sending whatever negativities or feelings that they're having that they no longer want, habits, traits, just visualize it just floating down a river away from you. You don't have to think about where it's going to go or how you're going to do it. Just visualize it. The universe is taking care of you. God, or whatever you believe in, is taking care of you as you go through your life and you communicate that which you want to fall away. And so, sometimes we think we have to do a lot more work than we really have to do. A lot of times all we really need to do is just communicate our intentions and ask our spirit guides to help. And then to trust that process and just relax. When we relax, it gives the spirit realm so much more power and authority to step into your life and do exactly what you asked it to do. It's kind of hard sometimes for people to develop that trust and that letting go. But I promise, if you just focus on it and meditate on it, you'll experience it, and it's so beautiful. Okay, well that's it for this week, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed the reading, and let me know what you think in the comments as always. Would really appreciate a like and a subscribe, and for you to share this with any friends or family that you feel this video could help. Thanks once again for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a beautiful week. Namaste.